occasional hazards of being a preacher is if you have people come up to the lectern and do things, they take your bulletin. So I'd be grateful if somebody could bring me a bulletin so that I know what's happening. Thank you very much. That's great. Oh, yes. So it says sermon. Oh, yes.
Excuses.
So today's Thanksgiving Sunday, and here we are. We're all wanting to give thanks. It's a very natural human instinct when we stop and reflect and breathe as we think about all God's gifts around us. And most of us, but not all of us, find that something that's easy to do. But let's remember too, as we head into this season of Thanksgiving, not everybody is giving thanks this week. There are people who, for very good reasons, don't have much to give thanks for. And at the same time, there are people too for whom a time has such an emphasis on family. Are just aware that this is their first Thanksgiving without somebody. Or it may be that every year at Thanksgiving, you're just very aware that somebody is missing. So please, let's keep in prayer those for whom Thanksgiving is a tough time. At the same time, let's not inhibit ourselves in celebrating a great feast of not only the secular world, but for us in the church. And I've already put out somewhere that I've been fascinated this year by the discovery that the word thanks in English is actually the same word as the word think in English. If you go back 1,000 years, they were one word. And what struck me about that is that what you do when you give thanks is that you stop and you think about what you have and who you are, what God has done for you, how your faith brings you alive in a different way from the way you would be alive otherwise. So stopping to give thanks, to think, is a really important thing for us to do in our own lives of the Spirit. And we don't only do it at Thanksgiving season, but this is a good time to remind ourselves that this is what we do as people of faith. We give thanks. And we find that giving thanks renews us in our life of the Spirit. So the children are going to help us now with a litany of thanksgiving. So I'm not sure who's leading at this point. Yeah. So all the children, come on down, please.
Everybody comes, and those of you who are reading the Thanksgiving can stand here, and everybody else can sit down here and face them. So if you have a paper, stand here. And all the children, and everybody else sit down here. All right. In Sunday school, thank you for being there. In Sunday school, we talked about what we were thankful for, and lots of ideas came up. And some children wrote, and some children drew pictures that I think are going to be up at some point. Yes. Wonderful pictures that some of you made. So we are now going to share in this, and you have a response, which is God's faithful love lasts forever. And we're really trying in this kind of service to remember we're all in worship together. So none of us are performing, we're all sharing and worshiping together. We've been doing this for 3 weeks in Sunday school, having a formal worship service. All right, I'm going to hand this to Ben. Could you know the other end?
We give thanks to God for family, for mom and dad, for grandma and grandpa, for sisters and brothers. God's faithful love lasts forever. We give thanks to God for our pets, our cats, our dogs, ponies, and all animals.
God's faithful love lasts forever.
We give thanks God for being alive.
God's faithful love lasts forever. We give thanks to God for fire and water, earth and lightning. God's faithful love lasts forever.
We give thanks to God for the teachers.
God's faithful love lasts forever.
We give thanks to God for the galaxy.
God's faithful love lasts forever.
We give thanks to God for math and our education.
God's faithful love lasts forever.
We give thanks to God for clean clothes.
God's faithful love lasts forever.
We thank for God for food.
God's faithful love lasts forever.
We give thanks to God for Jesus.
God's faithful love lasts forever.
We give thanks to God for a house and a warm bed.
God's faithful love lasts forever.
We give thanks to God for loving us.
God's faithful love lasts forever.
Okay, I'd like to hear a few more. Could I take the microphone? So, we give thanks to God for... Somebody like to say something?
We give thanks to God for children,
God's faithful love lasts forever.
for family coming home.
God's faithful love lasts forever. We give thanks to God for...
We give thanks to God for St. Mark.
God's faithful love lasts forever. We give thanks to God for...
I give thanks to God for bringing me through 2 strokes without any permanent disability.
God's faithful love lasts forever.
I give thanks to still be able to sit next to my Aunt Toots, and I hope we get to do this many more.
God's faithful love lasts forever. Give thanks to God for...
Enduring friendships.
God's faithful love lasts forever. Anybody else up in the choir? Anybody? We give thanks to God for the rain. God's faithful love lasts forever. We give thanks to God for...
Thanks to God for the peaceful country we have compared to wherever it's going somewhere else. Thank you.
God's faithful love lasts forever.
We give thanks to books so we can have good education.
Yeah. We give thanks to God
We give thanks to Miss Lily.
for Miss Lily. All right. God's faithful love lasts forever.
We give thanks for our pets and parents.
God's faithful love lasts forever. Well, the list goes on, doesn't it? Isn't it wonderful to list out all of those things that we give thanks to God for? And we can go on forever. And it's not a bad thing to take some time at home just to sit down with a piece of paper and just scribble down all the things that you give thanks for. And I know it'll be a long list. Now, the children found, as they were reflecting on this notion of giving thanks, that something they were very aware of is summed up in those words that you have in your bulletin from Psalm 91, which paraphrase says, you see it up here on the screen, when I trust in God, it's like being wrapped in a warm blanket. Do you remember this? With God on my side, I'm not scared of anything, not during the day, not during the night. And the children have brought something to show us. Do you want to tell us something you want to tell us about this?
So can we said this song together. Should we do this again? When I trust in God, repeat it.
When I trust in God,
It's like being wrapped in with God on my side. Clear? And not during the night. Right. So every time we said that prayer, we wrapped ourselves in warm blankets. Didn't we? And then last week we made prayer shawls that reminded us, and they all decorated them, but they're all at home, apparently. So we have extra ones they have on today. Linda, will you show up and show me your prayer shawl? Yeah? Yes. So they can see.
Come and stand up, will you? So everybody can see. There it is.
So we sat in a circle, and you sat with your teachers, and you talked about things that you were afraid of. Do you remember that? Remember that, some of you? Can anybody of you name something you were afraid of? Yes.
The dark.
Right. And then they said, when I trust in God, it's like being warm, wrapped in a warm blanket, right? And we hug the blankets around us.
I'm afraid of the
Nightmares? Yes. Yeah, that is
Nightmares are
scary.
really scary.
So we know, though, that we can wrap God around us, right? And we don't have to be afraid. Anybody else? Something you're afraid of?
I'm afraid of mountain lions.
Okay. So next time Aunt Ron walks into your house, you just say, yeah. So that's what we've done, and I think Pastor Allen is going to
I'm
have
going to
a
ask
foundation share, and then we have something for you.
Okay. I want to ask if any of the adults are willing to share with us something that they're scared of, something that, makes them fearful. Mark has something here, I see.
I'm fearful of jury selection, which starts.
When a public defender is scared of jury selection, we know there's something going on here. So I believe. So when I trust in God, it's like being wrapped in a warm blanket. With God on my side, I'm not scared of anything. Does somebody else have something to share? Something that scares you? Yes, Chet. Wait a minute, let me wait until we get the microphone to you. So,
Bonnie and I have a 300-year-old oak tree in our front yard, and it hangs over our house. And when the north wind howls and that tree is bending back and forth in the wind, and we're trying to go to sleep, I get concerned about that.
that's understandable. But you can say, when I trust in God,
I trust in God.
it's like being wrapped in a warm blanket. With God on my side, I'm not scared of anything. Somebody else have something to share? You never scared? Come on now, somebody's scared. Something that... Yes, I see one at the back.
I'm afraid of the deep divisions in our country and the lack of participation of people trying to change its direction.
Amen. But you can say, when I trust in God, it's like being wrapped in a warm blanket. God on my side, I'm not scared of anything. Yes. Yes, you have to keep that on. Oh, it's supposed to be Karen, it's double. So, okay, does somebody else have something? We've got a warm blanket here just waiting to go around somebody's neck. So please, somebody come up with something. Yes.
I just wanted to say, besides the love of God, there is the grace of God.
Amen.
When things happen that seem like miracles, that's what I'm thankful for.
All right, that's a good thought. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm looking for another scary thing. Okay.
I'm scared of missing opportunities.
Scared of missing opportunities, but we know that when I trust in God, you going? It's like being
Wrapped in a warm
With God on my side, I'm not scared of anything. Not during the day, not during the night.
I have another one here, so yes.
I'm scared of the unknown.
Scared of the unknown, but when I trust in God,
It's like being wrapped in a warm blanket. With God on my side, I'm not scared of anything. Not during the day, not during the night.
this is a powerful lesson, isn't it? It's a very powerful lesson. And it's a reminder to us in the season of Thanksgiving that the things that get in the way, that make us scared, that make us anxious, just take a breath and think and say to yourself, with God, when I trust in God, it's like being wrapped in a warm blanket. With God on my side, I'm not scared of anything. Not during the day, not during the night. So thank you, children, for sharing this with us. This was a very precious gift. Thank you. Okay, we'll sit down now. Just let me say, as I said, I found myself very challenged by this notion of thanks and thinking and thanking. And I don't think I've ever before found myself wanting to read from one of the sermons of Paul Tillich. You know, Paul Tillich was a 20th century existential theologian who sort of got into these very complicated ideas. But I really like this. He says, in all our expressions of gratitude towards others, the object of our thanks is usually visible. We know at least whom to thank and what for, although often we don't know how to thank. But there's also gratefulness that is, so to speak, without a definite object towards which to turn. This is not because we don't know the object, but because there is no object. We are simply grateful. Do you know that experience? Of being simply grateful, not thankful for a specific something. He says, thankfulness has taken hold of us, not because something special has happened to us, but just because we are. Because we participate in the glory and power of being. It's a mood of joy, but more than a mood, more than a transitory emotion. It's a state of being. And it's more than joy. It's a joy that includes the feeling that is given, but we cannot accept it without bringing some sacrifice, namely the sacrifice of thanks. But there's no one to whom we can bring it, and so it remains within us, a state of silent gratefulness. So do you sense that thanks energy, that gratefulness joy inside you that's not necessarily related to something specific out there that you have received, but rather it's conditioned and changed who you are? You know, next Sunday is Advent Sunday, and we start the Christian year all over again. And we spend a number of weeks preparing for Christmas, preparing ourselves to receive the gift of the Christ child, preparing ourselves to make a new beginning. And no matter how old you are or how experienced you are as a Christian person, it's still a time for a new beginning, for taking stock and for evaluating and saying, where am I going with my life of faith? And I think it's a really great place for you to start at that place that Tillich calls the state of silent gratefulness. And I invite you into the state of silent gratefulness and let it take hold. Yes, deep appreciation for everything that you have, all the blessings of life, all the comforts of life, all the relationships, all the love, the church community, and so on. But allow that gratefulness then to become a liberation experience that sets you free to go out into the world with great joy. And what he says is that thanks always leads to a sacrifice. Sacrifice is a pretty heavy-duty word for us, but gratefulness takes us out of ourselves, into the world, and into situations that we don't know. And we've been reminded of several of them this week. We've been reminded of the whole immigrant community in our midst, 11 million people, 12 million, as they say, living in the shadows. And half of them have been given a little bit of hope for the next 3 years. But boy, it's only a beginning. There are still a lot of people living in the shadows. Still a lot of people who feel as though they have to stay secret. And I believe that in our gratefulness, we are called out to build relationships, to build connections, to hold the hand of those who are living in fear, those who are living in the shadows. And I don't know about you, but I am very anxious about the announcement when it comes from Ferguson. What Ferguson has shown us is that there's something very, very wrong, and it doesn't make any difference what the announcement is whenever it comes. We have discovered that there is deep mistrust. We have discovered that there is deep, you can call it racism. It's a real racial, cultural insensitivity. When I hear the governor of Missouri speak, when I hear the mayor of Ferguson speak, I hear people who do not have experience of connecting to people who are different from themselves. There has not been that liberation that comes from deep thankfulness of engaging the world around them. And Barry Wiley was on my case. Barry, where are you? Are you still in here? Or have you gone? Oh, there you are. He was on my case about this morning's editorial in The Bee. Have you seen it? I mean, it's right on target. They are panning the city and county of Sacramento for gross negligence when it comes to the homeless population. And at the same time, there's a story in The Bee about the millions and millions and millions of dollars that have been spent on these recent election campaigns. In the district where the Barrett-Ossie fight has been staged, $78 per vote has been spent on those nasty TV ads. It doesn't make sense, does it, to be spending money like that when we have people out on the street without a place to keep warm at night, without that sense of a warm blanket that we can put around us. So as we celebrate Thanksgiving, please celebrate with gusto. Celebrate with deep joy. Celebrate with a profound appreciation for the love and the care that surrounds you and all of us. At the same time, remember to reach out, to touch, to make those connections of love, of community that truly bring life to who we are as the people of God. So thanks be to God for the gift of our children. Thanks be to God for the gift of Thanksgiving. And I wish you a very beautiful celebration of Thanksgiving on Thursday. So Lily's going to lead us again.